All right, guys, it's Halsey with the Helicopter Podcast, day 2 of HI in-person recordings, and I am with Mr. Brad Pedersen of MD Helicopters. Brad, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. I can only imagine being the CEO of MD makes it a very busy show. How's it been going? How is day 1?
Yeah, actually, it started off with day 0 and on Sunday, and it's gotten busier every day. It's been really been a great show. Our folks with Terry, Ashley, Jacob, they did an amazing job with our booth, putting our booth together. Perfect location. We have 4 helicopters here today, 3 in our booth, and it's gone well. We're generating a lot of interest with some upgrades to D's, E's, and 520N aircraft to improve the performance of the aircraft for not a lot of money. So yeah, it's been really good. There's a lot of energy generated around MD. I think we've grown considerably this past year, 23. We delivered 10 helicopters. When you compare that to Boeing or some of these other guys, it's not a lot, but it was significantly more than the year before, and we have at least 16 planned for delivery this year, and we have orders out into 2025. So I think that the changes we've been making slowly over the last year is coming to fruition, and there's a lot of interest in the helicopters, a lot of interest in the products that we're doing. But it's been good. It's been great. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, the booth looks incredible. Yeah. Right down the main entry.
Yeah.
Boom, MD Helicopters. It's funny.
Can I apologize to Bell for covering their sign? We're really sorry about that. We'll try not to let that happen again. But
are the boxing gloves gonna?
Oh, no. I said I'm sorry.
You're a big guy. I wouldn't mess with you. So, no, I mean the booth is incredible. The funny thing about MD for me is that non-helicopter people seem to recognize an MD helicopter.
Yeah.
It's so iconic.
Right.
I'm curious if you could just give me a little bit of the history of MD, and I want to touch on obviously what we were just talking about with your deliveries and everything.
Sure.
If we could just get a little bit of a history lesson on MD.
Sure. Yeah. Because I think that's really important, and it's part of our fiber. Not really sure the year it started. I think it was in the 40s, 47. Wow. Howard Hughes started it with. It was part of Hughes Tool Company. The first helicopter that they put together was the 269, which is the Model 300, which I think is still in production today. I didn't see them here. The Schweitzer sold to Schweitzer.
They don't have an aircraft here.
Yeah,
but I did see them.
And then the Vietnam era came, and we won a light observational helicopter competition with our OH-6. It was against Hiller and Bell, and that's really the bones for the aircraft that we have today. At one point in time, Hughes built 800 OH-6s in 1 year,
wow.
Which just kind of staggering, and this day and age, yeah, it's crazy. And our ownership structure would love it if I had 800 deliveries in a year, but. It's interesting with you. So the OH-6 became the 500C, 500 Charlie model, and then back in 1977, significant upgrade, put a fifth blade on, changed the vertical and horizontal tail. Horizontal vertical stabilizers to the T-tail, longer blades, and kind of made it I think one of the first commercial helicopters that really addressed the commercial market instead of being former military. It was big in law enforcement, utility operators, even some VIP and others. And then in the 80s, there were some changes made, making the 530F with the bigger engine, longer rotor blades, but an a pointed nose. But the D model essentially just became an E with a pointed nose. So there really wasn't a lot a lot with that, and it's been somewhat stagnant. We had the NOTAR technology that was in the late 80s, early 90s, and same with the 900. And I think that there were either some the NOTAR technology didn't quite meet the efficiency that we all thought, or the price point, as well as it needed some upgrades that the company back then didn't either have the money or the interest in doing. So it was owned by a couple of companies. The last one, the fund that it was part of, went bankrupt, and so in 2020, I believe it was, the bankruptcy court took over the company and put in some temporary leadership until the bankruptcy sale was going on. This bankruptcy sale was closed on August 15th of 2022. Back in 2021, the debt holders asked me if I could come help them, give them some advice and recommendations on should they convert their debt into equity, essentially take ownership of the company.
Sure.
And I said, man, it's an iconic brand. It's a great helicopter. It's got a customer following almost like no others. Everybody I talk to, and no offense to Robinson, but nobody ever comes up to me and says I got this great R-44 story. But I don't know how many people come up to me and say like, I remember the first time I flew a D model. The first time I did this, or when I did that. So it's unique in the flying experience. It's unique in the performance, the handling qualities, and what the aircraft does, and people love it.
Yeah, I would say that there's not a pilot listening to this podcast or a pilot at this show that would probably not say that the MD is like the funnest helicopter to fly. I mean, it's when I think of a pilot's helicopter, I think of MD. I mean, it's like the Ferrari sports car, multi-mission, so many uses. You touched on NOTAR. This is actually a question from the vertical editorial team, so thank you to them for spurring this question.
Is this podcast off the record?
It's very much on the record. I'm curious about the NOTAR. Fun fact, I remember as a little kid, I don't know, I was maybe in middle school, I was on a boat and I looked up and I saw a helicopter fly over and it didn't have a tail rotor. And I remember like my mind was blown at that time. Vivid memory. Can we expect the NOTAR making a comeback? I think it's been dormant for about 10 years now.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, there's certain things. I'll just jump to the 902. Every time I fly in the 902, it's like this is just an amazing aircraft. It's smooth, it's comfortable, but it's been out of production for 12 years. Same with the 600 and in the 520N. It's sort of a long answer to build up the answer of no.
Let us down easy, Brad. Let us down easy.
No, so I mean, it's just the practicality of it. If we go to people and say, all right, I need, I want you to invest in the tooling to build, say, tail booms, right? And well, how many do you have? Well, there's 90 aircraft out there. There's 11,000 hours or something like that life on the tail boom. So we'll replace one a year for the next 10, 15 years. And the supply base will say, look, there's no economics in that. So we're kind of picking and choosing. We're finding suppliers now. The 520N tail boom has been a problem. We're hoping that we're going to get the first one in March to support the people in the field. We're going to do our best to support the people with 600s and the 520Ns. But as far as going back into production, there's no plans. It didn't have the efficiency. It probably needed a 520N, B model with improving the efficiency and some of the things. But we're kind of picking and choosing. It's the D's, E's, and F's are the bread and butter of the company, and we don't want to spread ourselves too thin and try a lot of different projects that we don't have the resources to improve. So we're going to stick with the D, E's, and F upgrades, and then but do our best to support the 600 and the 520N folks in the field.
Take me back to the conversation that you were having in 2020 with the debt holders at that time, and saying, hey, look, this is an iconic brand. Maybe we should consider turning that debt into equity. What was your passion behind that? What was your speech to them on selling them on that idea?
Yeah, I think it was, so I left Boeing in 2000, went to Sikorsky, but I always kept an eye on MD, and it would be it's kind of frustrating to me because I kept saying, look, it's not a complex problem that MD's having. It's a difficult one, but it's not complex, right? We've always done a poor job, even the Boeing McDonnell Douglas days, a poor job in customer support. What I've learned in this kind of business, you really need spare parts on the shelf. When somebody needs a part, you turn it immediately. Same with overhaul and repair. You need to be able to have a 30-day or less overhaul and repair window, but you need to have rotable pools of dynamic components that if somebody, AOG, you can get that out to them and bring theirs in and fix it. And for some reason, MD never really broke that code. They were always looking at the 6XX or the ARM 902. There was always something bigger and better, as opposed to sort of the the guts, the bread and butter of running the business. And the first thing I said to him is that there are close to 2,000 aircraft out there, and you need to support those. And if you do support those, your revenue stream is going to be great from the spare parts. But the other thing is you're going to instill confidence back in the industry, back with the users. You're going to get confidence, and they're going to buy more. They're going to buy more helicopters. And there's sort of, I think there has been a latent. Kind of a latency in procurement. They're waiting for the bankruptcy, or they're waiting for who's going to come in after Patriarch and those types of things. And so I said this: if you do it well, you get out of the gates well, and be honest with the customers, be honest with the industry. Let's build the let's build our aftermarket support. Start there, and then we can do things with the new product, like we're doing with the Super D, E, and F. You can make some incremental changes that are going to have a significant impact on the business and selling more aircraft. And I think they bought into that. And like you said, when a lot of non-helicopter people think of helicopter, they think of the D model and the Magnum PI, right? The Island Operas, right? And that's and so it's and I always tell people too, is like, Howard Hughes started this. A lot of people were between Howard and myself tried to kill this company or tried to mess it up, and they've not been able to do it. This thing's much, much bigger. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than anybody else that's come before me, and it's it's going to be here for a long, long time.
I think it was at HAI. Forgive me, it might have been last year or 2 years ago, but I read an article and you were stating something along the lines of, like, that was your marching order coming in as the CEO to provide better support for your existing fleet.
Yeah.
Do you think now, a year into that, or into your tenure, that you are accomplishing that goal?
Well, I mean, look, that's one that I know we're never going to be perfect at. Perfection in that is really, really hard. I think that so here's what we did. I think we're in the, I don't know, fifth inning, sixth inning on this journey. The first thing was, and I've said this before, is generally the spare parts and the overhaul and repair is just a statistical problem. How many aircraft are out there? How many are they flying a year? What have you done in the last 10 years? And you extrapolate that out, and you say, okay, I need to be ready to do whatever 20 tail rotor gearbox overhauls a year. I got to have X amount of gonculators in stock because I sell 3 a month, kind of thing. And we got a team we hired a team. We hired about we've gone up maybe 30% in staffing in our aftermarket and with helicopter people. And we had a year ago we identified 700 and some parts that we needed to have in our shelves. We're about 80% there on that 700. Now we've also identified additional 300, so we've got 1,000 parts that we need to keep in stock. So everybody complains about the supply chain, so I may as well. Yeah. Now you
wouldn't be the first this show.
But it's I'll just say it's a bit different with us because in the past we didn't really do long-term agreements with suppliers, right? I need 100 of these. I'll order 100. I won't order any more for another 3 years, right? And then 3 years from now, I need 100 more. Well, the lead time is not 3 months; it's 18 months, right? So we're doing long-term agreements with folks, and then getting people to believe in us, suppliers to believe in us, and then to ramp up has been, it's one of our jobs, one of my jobs to do, and that's been challenging as well. And some suppliers just said, look, we've had enough of MD, and we're not going to do this anymore. So we had to find all new suppliers for certain parts. So, I mean, there's people, though, there's like HTC that's just behind us. Mm-hmm. They've been a great partner with us, and HTC has been building blades and drive shafts for us, and they've, stuck with us, and they want to help. And so it's so that part of things, identifying the parts, I think we're there. I'm happy with what we've done there. Getting the parts in, we're maybe halfway there with that. Same with the repair and overhaul. We just transmissions castings have been a problem, and I can't. We're working really hard to get castings for our production line and for our customers, but getting 10 for a rotable pool is tough. So we're first or second inning on some of that overhaul and repair stuff. I think our service center network and parts distributor network was a bit disjointed, and we've just recently announced that what our service center network is going to be, who they're going to be. We've got arrangements that we treat all the service centers the same. In the past, some have gotten more discounts than others, and in the past too, some people would buy all of everything we had in stock of a certain part, right, a gonculator, and now they control the market on that, and they're selling to the other people, and so some customers don't have it, others have a lot, and we want to treat everybody fairly in that regard. The other thing is, with PMA parts, that's always been an issue with OEMs, and we talked internally and said, if the choice is sell them a PMA part or have them not flying, it's easy. You sell them the PMA part. So we just announced, I think this week, that on a case-by-case basis, we'll allow our service centers to sell PMA parts if they're not in stock, or if there's a good reason. If there's a good reason for it. We've I think repaired our relationship with Aerometals, and that's been a bit rocky in the past, and I have a good relationship, I think, with Lori Simon, their CEO, and we talk a lot, and we look at them as partners as well. They can build some things for us to help us out, and so from the service center, I think we figured out a plan, a strategy, and working with those people, we need to let that kind of a year or so to see how that all works out. So the aftermarket, and we've also certifying certain service centers to do E to F conversions, which is the new tail rotor, some tail boom mods, new engine. So we're instead of having a customer send an aircraft to us, we'll have a service center that they can take their aircraft to that normally wrenches on their aircraft. Joe Ott at Thoroughbred Aviation has been a great partner with that, Axiom and a couple of other ones as well. So another thing I think I'm really happy with is with these service centers, I think we have really good personal relationship with these people. We understand them, they understand us, and at the end of the day, Joe Ott at Thoroughbred and us, we have the same, the same goals in mind. Keep the helicopters flying, make the customers happy. So, I mean, it's a Rubik's Cube sometimes, right? Yeah. And especially what you came into. Yeah. The company was not in great shape when you took over. And so it seems like you're making the strides to bring MD back. And it's really exciting, actually, because as we've discussed, MD within the industry is just such an iconic brand. Right. You alluded to, some different owners. It doesn't go away, right? And I think that speaks to the industry's love for the aircraft. Sure. And I think when I started talking to the entire population, I said, look, our customers deserve better. We this is not just a job for us. This is our responsibility. We owe it to these people, to do this every day. I walk in, I see a helicopter flying, and I think, part of my job is to keep those people safe, keep those people alive, or to see. A utility operator flies. So my job is so these guys can make some money. Keep the power grid going, and with law enforcement as well. And it's just really an honor and a blessing to be in a position like this where I'm not selling cigarettes, right? Of course. And it's we always have to keep that in perspective, right? It's we're doing something that's a bigger purpose here, and again, the industry, we owe it to the industry. The industry has deserved better than way I think MD's treated them for a long time.
I think that's the amazing part of helicopters. I've talked about it recently with my team at Helicopter, of this idea of so much of our infrastructure, not just here in the States but globally, is because of helicopters.
Right.
Utility, big with MD, of course. Law enforcement, agricultural purposes. I mean, air medical. So many different, So many different parts of our economy are because of helicopters. And, they're really an important asset. And I think it's our job in the industry to make sure that we're keeping and moving forward, and obviously trying to improve safety and things like that. We're seeing a lot of innovation within the industry right now. It's kind of, maybe transitioning into a new future. What does innovation look like at MD Helicopters?
So the aircraft, like I said, has really not changed much since the 80s. Our main rotor blades are essentially the same airfoil at the OH-6s in 1960s.
It's incredible.
And it's a pretty good. The Hughes designers, I think, just did an amazing job. I was fortunate. I started there, and I worked with the engineers that actually had slide rules. They come out and we do the calculations with their slide rules, and it was fun because everybody, there was a great history there. People tell me the stories of working with Howard Hughes. I knew Howard Hughes as pilot, and
really,
there was this great. It was truly a family. The Hughes family, and. But it kind of stopped at some point in time. The innovation stopped, and things like the rotor blades. HTC behind us, they're working on a new modern rotor blade, and Van Horn Aviation is working on a modern main rotor blade as well. So there's those types of things that can improve efficiency, reduce the noise, those types of things. So there's that going on. We need a bigger fuselage. We're really limited by the space that we have in there. That's probably a longer putt for us. But right now the focus is on the single engine line, and because on a per unit basis, sales per year, there's more long light singles sold than any other ones, and we're just we're not as we're more expensive than a 505 or an R66, and there's not as much room as a 125.
It's a different platform, really, though.
But that the long light single, I think, is good because some of the twins are really expensive to operate and own, and there's a sweet spot in there, I think, for the long light singles.
I find it interesting that you started at MD Helicopters previously. And I guess kind of a multifaceted question. First off, I'm always really enamored by leaders of companies. I think it's an incredible thing. I think it's a big undertaking, but I'm always fascinated by the people because it takes a special person. I guess just walk me through a little bit of your personal history of where you started, and did you ever imagine that here in 2024 you would be joining me today as the CEO of MD Helicopters? It's a great job where half the people in the company hate me and the other half just haven't made up their mind yet. Come on now, I don't believe that.
No. It's look. I started in 1983. I graduated from Arizona State University, and Hughes had just won the Apache production contract, and they didn't have enough room in Culver City to build the Apache, so they got a deal with the government, the city government of Mesa, and built this factory out there. But at the time, and I'm in California now, so I don't want to insult California, but at the time, California was really a great place to live, and none of the engineers, and the aerospace was huge here with McDonnell Douglas, Boeing. It was just huge in Southern California. Nobody from Southern California wanted to move to Arizona, so they had ads in the paper, and I just graduated from college, and I saw an ad in the paper for a mass properties engineer, and I said, I don't know what the heck a mass properties engineer does, but it probably pays pretty good.
That's funny.
So I go there, and I had some friends that were working there as well, and I put in my application, and they gave me a tour. And I'm walking out, and I see this little sign that said, "There's an opening for a flight test engineer." And I go, "Well, that sounds a lot more fun than a mass properties engineer." And I said, "Can I have my application back?" And I got a job. I got called, got a job as a flight test engineer, and I was 2 weeks into the job, and I had asked somebody what a rotor head is.
Oh,
so that's there was nothing. There was nothing in college at the time taught about helicopters. It was all fixed wing, and I thought, okay, I'll do this helicopter thing for a couple of years, get some experience, and then I'll go work for a real airplane company. I'll go work for Boeing or Lockheed or something like that. But then I just got bit by the helicopter bug, and I was fortunate. One of my mentors, Greg Ash, is here, test pilot. He did the E and the F model certification, Vietnam vet. He also did the Hollywood signs. He put up the Hollywood signs.
No way.
Yeah. And I think he had a flame out, putting one of the sides up, water in the fuel. But so he's here talking about the Super D, E, and F. But I work with a lot of these guys. We said literally the slide rule guys. The analog. When we'd go flying, Greg would make me plot out the data on a clipboard by hand. Because he said, look, I don't want to come back. I don't want to go back and say we missed a data point or something like that. And some of these things, this attention to detail, this the understanding of the aircraft, of how it flies and why it flies and what it does. It just fascinated me, and I got hooked on it. And I said, I want to stay in the helicopter world. I went back, and I had no interest at all in anything other kind of in the technical side of things, but. I went back and got my MBA for no real reason, and I took a cost accounting class and an HR class, and I thought, well, this is really fascinating. There's so much more to a business than just engineers at a drafting table or a CAD tube or something like that. And I was not only interested in the product, but interested in how the companies run and why they do this. And also, why do people work? Why do you come to work? Why do I come to work? Why do any of us come to work? It's not the paycheck. You have to have that, but there's got to be some other bigger purpose, some other thing for people to do. And I just I enjoyed that. I enjoyed sort of meeting with people, working with people. Part of my job too is to make people's lives better. We spend, most of our waking hours either driving to work, at work, driving home, thinking about work, right? So why not make it a good experience? It's okay to sweat at the end of the day and work hard, but it should be a good experience. And so I just kind of found my way doing that. And but I was at the big companies, Boeing and Sikorsky, and a lot of the day was just administrivia, and it wasn't really, I was making a presentation for my boss to make to somebody else to somebody else, kind of thing. And just thought I just don't have really the, my frustration was not being able to change the company, and I had an opportunity to go to a smaller company owned by private equity that was not making really any money, and kind of got fun. It was sort of like the flight test days. You're in a small group, a small company, and I like that. I like being able to change the direction for the better, listen to people and talk to people, and I just kind of found my way there. And then this opportunity came up, and it was just a dream job to come back to MD and come back to the the 500, 600, 902.
Come back home.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It seems like we're seeing it, with you. Robinson Helicopters just announced.
That, David's a great guy.
David's coming in, engineering background.
Same with Enstrom. Todd Tetzloff, great guy as well. And
absolutely.
And just for the record, he's a Packer fan as well. And
are you a Packers fan?
Oh yeah.
I'm a big cheesehead.
Cool. Todd and I grew up about 20 miles from each other in northern Wisconsin.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where my Packer love comes from. I'm from Oregon. I should be a Seahawks fan. I hate them.
No, you shouldn't.
Always been a Packers fan. I have not been to a game.
Yeah.
One of my bucket list items has to be very specific. I want to go to a snow game at Lambeau. I feel like that would be incredible.
It is pretty fun. In fact, I took my family, my wife and I, we took our daughters back to northern Wisconsin, and one of the things we did was we toured spent a day touring Lambeau Field.
So cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
So, Todd, David, you. Yeah. It seems like there's more and more OEMs kind of recognizing that, maybe the guys and gals at the top of these companies should have a background in engineering or even be a pilot or whatnot.
Right.
What would be your advice to someone that might be, say, my age, looking to
early 20s?
Early 19 actually.
Yeah, okay, good.
Just kidding. I wish. I feel 19. My back doesn't feel 19. No.
Yeah, I feel 19.
As I'm like shifting around.
I feel 18, 19. That's what I.
Yeah, exactly. What would be the advice to those who are currently working in an engineer role at a manufacturer, working as a pilot, but they maybe have these dreams, so to speak, and goals of maybe moving up into the executive role? What would be like the Brad Pedersen, steps of success to get there?
I think. So I'll just give kind of my advice. My advice to anybody is, stay in school, learn as much as you can. I thought that engineering school was good. The MBA, broadened my experience with the finance and accounting. I'm not saying everybody needs an MBA, but if you're in undergrad, take some cost accounting classes, take some HR classes, because it's really, really important to understand the whole business. The second thing is you don't have to be the brightest guy. I'm living proof. You don't have to be the brightest guy in the world, but all you have to do, your can I swear once?
Go.
Your give a shit meter has to be really high, right? Get a high give a shit meter, and just make your boss's life easier, right? Don't you can be a problem to your boss, or you can make your boss's life easier. And you've made it when they come to you and say, hey, can you help me out with this? Can you do do this type of thing? Because they're humans too, and the last thing they want is to deal with their boss banging them for why you late on this or why you late on that. Get to work on time. Work hard.
Simple things,
it's the simple things. Get to work on time, work hard, and listen. Ask questions and listen, because I every meeting I go to, I know that I'm not the smartest guy in that room, and when we see things like our booth today, with everything, the layout is that's other people that did that, right? I had some input, a little bit of input, but it's other people that did that. Same with with the aircraft and the customer support. Listen to those people here. How and customers, just listen to people and say, understand. Don't try to defend something a decision you made. Listen and then have the guts to change. Right? Look, I made a mistake. We're going to change. We're going to do something differently. That's I think that's some of those things are important. It's you need to be confident. And have a strong backbone and say, look, damn it, this is the way we're going to go. But you also need to have some humility and be somewhat humble and say that, I realize I can't do it all. I've got to have other people to buy into the vision and change. And we got a great team, I think, with Ryan Weeks from Aftermarket, Harvey Ticklow, our COO, Jason Lindau, our head of sales. We have a really, really good, strong team that I can trust. And I go to bed at night and sleep like a baby, because I know that, that we have other people doing the good work. It takes
a village.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I think every great leader understands that. I think there's leaders out there that might have this mindset that, hey, the buck stops with me. I'm the guy. Yeah. I'm the reason. I don't think that's super effective. I have a very small business, but in my business, I really try to be, my guys are on the front lines. Right?
Sure.
They're the guys networking and cold calling and doing all that, and they come back with feedback. And to me, I would be silly not to listen to that feedback.
And everybody has a story too. We're all similar, right? We've got house payments, we've got kids, we've got, it doesn't matter, if where you are in the, kind of the salary level in the company. And I think it's important. I find it important for me to understand those stories and talk to the people and ask them questions and listen to them and then tell you why. I've always said, people will do just like really, really difficult, tough things as long as they know why, right? You don't have to tell them how to do it, but say, look, I know you don't agree with it, but this is why we have to do this. These
Certainly.
are the things we have to do. And you put it in that perspective, and it makes it, I think, a little bit easier to or they will generally buy into the vision. And the other thing is if somebody quits or gets doesn't buy in the vision, you don't take it personally, right?
Yeah.
You don't fit. And it's tough. I've had to have recently too a lot of tough conversations with people and say, look, you're a great person, you're a smart man, smart woman, but we're going a different direction.
Sure.
And you have to have the just courage, guts, or whatever to look people in the eye and just say that and let people go if they're not part of the plan. So.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, that's part of running a business. Yeah. Business that sometimes is business, right? You have to make those business decisions.
Yeah.
It's just part of the role that you take. It's maybe not the fun part, but it's the important, vital part.
Right.
When you took the helm after bankruptcy, what was like the general consensus and feedback from the MD parishioners, the owners, the operators? What was their, how did they approach you? How were they feeling about you coming on board? And what was kind of that general feedback?
So I think the general feedback was people were interested because we were bought by financial institution, an insurance company. The owners there are not helicopter people. That I was going to be a finance person and not a helicopter guy. And I think that it really helps out that I have an understanding of the aircraft, the industry, everything from engineering to supply chain. I've dealt with a lot of those people. So I think that hopefully that gave them some confidence that we weren't just going to sell off all parts of the aircraft of the company and make a quick buck and leave. So I think it was good. I don't really know. I look every single day that every single day we have a job interview, right? Every day you come in, whether it's a customer or a board or whatever, it's a job interview. And even though, like, so I had a text this week about somebody looking for a fuel cell, right? And I take that stuff personally and just say, okay, I want to help this guy out, right, best I can.
He texts you directly?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I think there's some, I think there's some, I don't want. Just going out to, I don't want every.
Side note: don't text. It has a great team that can help you get the fuel cell.
Yeah, but if you're up against a wall or you need something emergency, I'm more than happy to jump in the mix and help and drop what I'm doing because, like I said, everybody's got a story, and these guys have a contract and they can't fly, and they lose out on. They lose a lot of money if they miss a day or two a week of not flying. Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Interesting. You watch the TV shows with big business, billions. And I'm trying to think of the other show that I really like, and of course I can't think of it. And you see this, the boardroom, and it's all this craziness. I've always kind of been fascinated or curious of how do you interact with a board and maybe a lot of people on the board that might not be helicopter specific people. How are you able to help kind of get them to understand the vision, the goal?
Have you been to the MD corporate tower?
I have not.
Oh, well, actually, it's a trailer park that's 25 years old. It's a bunch of modular. I'm waiting for the storm to blow us all away. Again, so the first thing I think is it's just like anybody else. You just got to be truthful and honest and say, look, here's the way I think we should go. Here's the plus, here's the minus, here's the risk, here's the reward, kind of thing. And you be honest and lay it out and say, I'm not going to go there, tell them I'm going to invent the anti-gravity machine, something that's impossible. And you lay it out and you say, look, this is a, not to be kind of, it's a journey, right? This is not a next quarter you're going to be turning everything around, and here's what we're doing and why. Like I said, this is why we're doing these things, and I listen to them and take their feedback, and owners, these types of companies will tell me, hey, Brad, it ain't your money, right? All right, you say, got it? Yeah. And but our ownership is unique because it's we have. Two of the owners that are on the board. We've got a couple independent people on the board. Really, really smart really smart folks, and really good at the whole acquisitions and divestitures and the finance and kind of the credit.
Sure.
Market, and they're really good at that. And I consider these guys, colleagues and advisors to me, and I think we have a good relationship. This is the fourth or fifth one of these type of groups I've worked with, and I think that by and far these guys are the best. They're just good, honest people. Again, like you and I, they've got mortgages to pay and they've got bosses to satisfy.
Sure.
Right. So the same type of stuff, but it's not,
It's not as tumultuous as the TV shows make it always look.
It's it's a lot of zooms and fuzzy backgrounds and
That's funny. You mentioned earlier in our conversation that you guys have been ramping up production. I think you said 10 for this year.
10 for 23 and 16.
16 for 24. What markets are you targeting? I mean, obviously the MD is a multi-mission specific aircraft. What are the targets that you're trying to acquire?
So let me just kind of break it into two pieces: the upgrades and then the new helicopters. So the upgrades, like I said, there's 1,700 aircraft flying around there and flying around the world, and some of the Super D and the Super E will give these guys, better than 10% increase in useful load for not a lot of penalty with that, and we're allowing service centers to do that work. So it's fairly inexpensive to upgrade their aircraft. 520 and the NOTAR users, there's issues on hot days of getting that thing off the ground, as well as some maintenance issues with that engine, and so there's a lot of those guys want the C-30 upgrade in the kits. So and then there's a lot of military customers. We have 6 aircraft either in or coming back in for upgrades, for cockpit upgrades and other upgrades with the military side of things. So the aftermarket side is we're focusing a lot on that again, to improve it. Let's just get back to where we should be in that one. The new helicopter market. There's been, I think there were 3 or 4 kind of high wealth individuals that bought helicopters last year, and the guys that fly their own airplane, they love the aircraft, and that's always fun to see and talk to those guys. You say, what do you use it for? And they say, no, just flying around.
I actually had it. I was selling a 407. I sell used helicopters, and guy came to the demo, and he goes, I'm choosing between this or a new MD, and I was like, damn it. And he went to MD. So it's a hard helicopter to compete with. Yeah. And there is that private owner that just loves flying that machine.
If there's just 2 of you in there and you like flying your own, you get a ranch or whatever, it's amazing. It's amazing aircraft. And then I'll just go back. So, law enforcement, Huntington Beach's aircraft is here, and they've been a good customer for a long time, and they just took delivery of their 3 new F models, and so there's a lot of opportunity with law enforcement as well. Utility operators, they generally like to buy used aircraft, but some will buy some new aircraft. So that's a big focus with those guys. And then the military market, I don't think there's any aircraft better than ours if you're the light scout attack mission. So those are the main ones.
100%. You kind of touched a second ago on upgraded cockpit. What are some of the upgrades that operators and consumers are seeing now in the MD platform?
Well, it's interesting from the cockpit. The utility operators, they want to go back. They don't like the glass. They want analog.
Of course.
So
keep it simple.
Keep it simple. And I think there are a lot of people that have STCs on cockpits, like Clemens Aviation has an amazing, glass cockpit with Garmin that. There's a lot of people outside of us doing some really good things, and I would like to include some of those in our offerings as well. In our when people come back for a glass cockpit, say, well, you can have the standard one we put in a new E model, but you can have this one Clemens cockpit as well. But at least having some other choices, make it lighter weight, make it less expensive, those kinds of things.
Yeah, 100%. Looking towards the future, I mean, again, it seems like you've made a lot of strides in your short time already. classic interview question. What does the next 5-10 years look like for MD Helicopters? What's that vision? What does production look like in 5 years from now? What does customer parts support look like?
So, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think the big thing is we have to keep our current customers flying. Just never ignore that. Give them the upgrades. Support those guys so they stay flying. We need to reduce the cost of our aircraft. Not a lot has changed production process-wise since the 1960s, and so we need to do that. There's a lot of incremental things that we can do to make the product better, but then the bigger ones, I think, is we have to we need some additional products. We need to enter the long light single and do some other things we're not going to be Bell, we're not going to be Airbus, but those guys own 97% of the long light single market, and even if we can get 10-15% of that would be good. The military market is still good. The world is full of bad people and not getting any fewer, right?
I know.
And so that is good as well. We have I know this is kind of a commercial show, but we do have a fully integrated cockpit weapon system for military that is great situational awareness, great the ability for the pilot to identify, acquire targets, and do those types of things. So that's big as well with us, is from the military side of things. So we're hoping to we'd be happy at 35 to 50 helicopters a year. Not the 800. The 800 would be good.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is wild.
Different time.
Yeah, I've got some photos of it where the OH6s are just packed, and I give it to Harvey, our chief operating officer. Say, hey, it's easy. Look, they did it in 1968. It's easy.
It's super easy.
Yeah.
I think all OEMs are dealing with long lead times, things like that. We're definitely not in a state of the world where it's possible to produce 800 helicopters a year. I mean, that's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for joining the Helicopter Podcast.
You're welcome. I
can only imagine that you have a very busy schedule while at HAI. Do you enjoy the show?
I do. It's it seems like it's the start of the year, right? We've had the Christmas hangover, or the holiday hangover, and now your budgets are in place, and now this is the beginning of it, and it's a lot of fun. Look. See old friends. That's always
great.
good. But the other thing is, I'm really proud of what our team has done. I love the product line, and I love showing it off. I love talking about it. I love because I think I think what we do, it's a noble cause. All of us, like you said, is we're saving people's lives every day, and we're protecting people, or we're doing something for power lines and other things. It's fun to. I think it's fun to. Show off a little bit and listen to customers and figure out what we can do to make things better. So, I love it. It's the end of the week. I'm pretty tired, but
it's a marathon, really. And we came in earlier. We've been shooting a lot of content. Before the show started, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I'm a very particular pillow guy, it turns out, and my hotel just doesn't have the adequate pillow set up. Well, we appreciate you joining. To our listeners out there, thank you for listening and supporting the Helicopter Podcast. And we're so grateful for Vertical Helicasts. Intro podcast is kind of a first deal for us, so we're really excited about that. I've also been talking with Ashley at MD to hopefully come out and do a site visit.
Yeah, you should. The corporate towers. You got to see the.
I got to see the double wides.
Yeah. Don't come in tornado season though.
That sounds a little dangerous.
Yeah,
a little Wizard of Oz style flying around in the Connex box. But no, I'm excited. Admittedly, I don't have a lot of MD flying experience.
Well, I know a guy. I know a guy that can help.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the one and only time I've flown an MD was early on in my helicopter time, so I didn't really get to appreciate it. But I believe it was the Magnum PI bird.
Oh, nice.
So at least I have that.
There you go. Yeah.
But I do.
Well, we'll get you a mustache too to put on.
I I need that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brad, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
joining the show. Have a wonderful rest of your show, and keep doing what you're doing at MD.
And same with you guys. It's great to read your publication, and I love learning about what the other guys are doing, and you guys have a great you guys do a great service to the industry. So we really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate that, Brad. Thanks so much,
All right.
brother.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Go Packers.
Yeah, go Pack.
Hey, podcast listeners. My name is Halsey Schider, and I'm the principal broker and owner of Helicopter. Helicopter is a new age, data-driven, helicopter-specific sales brokerage, bringing helicopter listings to new heights. At Helicopter, we utilize digital positioning, paid advertising, and our large network of industry professionals to move your helicopter quickly and efficiently. Unsure the value of your helicopter? Lucky for you, Helicopter offers a complimentary market evaluation. All you have to do is contact the team today. Are you ready to take your helicopter listing from Mayday to payday? Easy. Fill out the contact information below, and a Helicopter pilot agent will reach out shortly. Helicopter. List it, sell it, done.